Capricorn, and welcome to your 2016 astrological overview. I'm your personal astrologer, Taylor Cole. Alright, so this year is an important year, especially for you, Capricorn. We are, first of all, going through 4 Mercury retrogrades as opposed to the usual 3. And 2 of those retrogrades are happening in your sign. So that's going to be a big deal. We're definitely going to talk about that. But first, I would like to go over the eclipses that are going to take place in 2016, which kind of give an overview of some of the themes and direction of the year. So the first eclipse is going to be March 9th, and it's a solar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, which for you, Pisces is an area of the sky that's all about like what it is that you know. Your thoughts, has to do with learning, education, not necessarily like formal education, but just studying and learning new skills. It also has to do with your local environment and your neighbors and also your siblings, extended family members as well. So a lot of different subjects are covered in this part of the sky. So it is very likely that a lot of Capricorns will be sort of learning new skills, going through a new course of study. This could be in a school environment. It can be, but it also can be just like independent study or maybe like a one-time workshop or a seminar of some sort that goes on in March. For others, this could be a new development with a sibling, neighbor, extended family member. And this particular eclipse is speaking to Jupiter. Jupiter is going to be exactly opposite, down to the exact degree. Jupiter's 18 degrees Virgo when this happens. The solar eclipse is taking place 18 degrees Pisces. Those are exactly opposite. So this is going to be definitely learning new information that likely goes completely against your, I'll be honest, it goes completely against your belief system or your philosophies, or learning information that makes you question your belief system and philosophies. There could be even like questioning your religion and faith because of what it is that you're learning. But it is not going to necessarily end your religion or end your current belief system. It's going to change it. It's going to be a new beginning, a new understanding of that existing belief system. It is also going to be speaking to Saturn. So Saturn is going to be right in between, so directly in between the solar eclipse and Jupiter. There's going to be Saturn. Now, Saturn's going to be in a part of your sky that's very under the radar, subconscious. It's not very public to anyone. Hidden things are covered in this part of the sky, so you might be like uncovering some new information that is very much changing you on a subconscious level. And so this information that makes you question your beliefs is very much going to shake you up on a subconscious level. It's also likely that you will want to be listening to your dreams and your that little voice that guides you, your little Jiminy Cricket or your conscience might be kind of giving you some good advice if you pay attention to, because Saturn in this part of the sky is actually happy in this part of the sky. A lot of people don't know this. Saturn is happy in the 12th house. If you know a little bit more about astrology, the 12th house is a good place for Saturn because it kind of structures this very subconscious, messy area of the sky. Let me just bring it back down though, for everyone who's not super familiar with astrology. What this means is you are going to be learning information, makes you question your beliefs, and kind of focuses your subconscious energy. It focuses the areas of life that seem usually very unfocused. Alright, that's the first eclipse. The next one is a lunar eclipse taking place in the sign of Libra. The moon's going to be in Libra, the sun's going to be in Aries. This is very much related to work-life balance. So the Sun's going to be down at the very bottom of your chart, and the moon's going to be at the top of your chart. This is probably going to be an ending of sorts in your career. Not an end of your career, but an ending that takes place in your career. So something that you do at work will be changing, ending, and it will affect your home life. So it could be that you are now able to bring some of your work home, do some work at home. It could be that you are ending your current position or to take a new one. For some of you, it can be an ending at your current job. You know, I'll be honest, it could be, but not for everyone. So look for something to change in your workplace right around the end of March. Now, those are the first two eclipses that are happening in the earlier part of the year. As we get a little bit later, towards August, we're going to have the first of the 3 remaining eclipses. August 18th is a lunar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign directly after yours and is related to your money. So as I said, lunar eclipses are about endings. So you are going to be seeing an end to something involving your money. You might see that you are no longer relying as much on like a standard paycheck, and you are looking more towards like commission or royalties if you are publishing any of your material. The kind of money that you get per project or per interaction with a client, or that's like very passive income, just generating money for you based on work that you've done in the past. Like that's going to be where you want to focus on gaining your financial freedom and financial stability. So August 18th is going to be a shift in the way you earn your money. 2 weeks after this, we have a solar eclipse taking place in Virgo. Virgo is part of your sky that is all about your belief system, your religion, or your formal education. So it could be that earlier in the year, when we had the solar eclipse in Pisces, so right around March when the solar eclipse in Pisces happens, you start to learn something new. You're learning something new, and then when the solar eclipse in Virgo happens in September, you seek formal education. That's a possibility, but you definitely will be seeing some new development taking place in either education, religion. You might be traveling more. So one of those areas. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to have a lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is going to be really releasing something that you thought you knew, something that was very data-driven, fact-oriented, in pursuit of gaining wisdom and higher knowledge. So letting go of what is a fact and really connecting with the truth that, transcends the data, really, like the higher meaning of it all. This is a change from being someone who's very logical, black and white, to someone who sees the potential for more of a understanding of faith or spirituality or maybe religion, or someone who's just really more philosophically oriented, when before you were definitely black and white. This is a fact. This is not a fact. So those are the eclipses for the year. But we also have 4 Mercury retrogrades instead of 3. So first Mercury retrograde we're opening the year with. January 4th to January 26th, we have a retrograde starting in Aquarius, very quickly moving into your sign Capricorn. So this is going to represent rethinking how you spend your money, and rethinking and considering how the way you spend your money reflects the way you view yourself. So sometimes if people are very frivolous with their spending, it shows that they are not necessarily factoring in their own well-being. So they might not, they might not care enough about themselves. This is only sometimes. Sometimes, if you don't care enough about yourself, if your self-worth is not very high, you can just let all your money go. You can spend it, you can give it away, because you don't respect yourself enough to look out for your well-being and save the money that you will need. Again, I'm not saying that is how it is for everyone, but if you find yourself spending a lot of money right about then, you will want to consider such possibilities. You might want to consider maybe you don't spend money on yourself ever. That also is a reflection of your self-worth. You deserve nice things. You deserve the luxuries of life. In moderation, of course, but you will want to look at that. That's the first retrograde, first Mercury retrograde. Next one is April 27th to May 23rd, and it's going to be in Taurus, which is the part of your sky that has to do with really the joys of life, what you do for fun, leisure activities, hobbies. It is associated with your children as well if you have children, so you might be considering some matter with your children. Maybe you're rethinking whether you want children or not. That's one way. For a lot of people, it won't relate to children, and it will be just reconsidering what it is that you do for fun, reconsidering what you are doing to ensure the joy and pleasure in your life. That is the second Mercury retrograde of the year. The next one is going to be August 29th to September 22nd. Again, this is going to be very much in the faith, philosophical, higher education, religion, travel part of your sky, the higher-minded part of your sky. There's a lot of activity going on this year in that part of your sky. So this is very much questioning your beliefs. That's number one, what this means. You're going over what it is you believe in and deciding if it's what you still believe in. You might be changing your views. There is a possibility of going back to your old belief system. So maybe you were raised with a certain religious belief and you have stopped believing in that, or you have just kind of stopped observing the practices, but maybe it's still something you believe in. Now you might go back to it and reconsider it, start implementing some of the practices. That's one way. It can be going back to school, going back to college. If you always wanted to go back and get your formal degree, this is the time to be considering it. With Mercury retrograde, you're not really going to start doing these things, or rather you maybe might not want to do that. Maybe you should consider not starting these things, but you're considering them. So considering going back to school, considering looking at your spiritual beliefs or your philosophical beliefs. And then once it goes direct, that's when you can start implementing all these considerations or these subjects you've been considering. Then the final Mercury retrograde of the year is from December 18th of 2016 to January 9th of 2017. It's going to be starting in a part of your sky that is very much, well, it is your sign, so it's starting in your sign. So you are going to have Mercury retrograde starting in Capricorn and going into a part of the sky that's very much subconscious, under the radar, not very visible to you, possibly not visible to others. It involves secrets, subconscious beliefs, very much the fog of life. What this means is you are going to be considering where it is that you have stopped being aware of yourself, if that makes any sense. So some of your behaviors that you are ignoring currently, or some things that you don't want to admit about yourself, or things that you might have just maybe intentionally forgotten about yourself, you're going to be looking that over. You're going to be analyzing yourself, and you should be. You're going to be analyzing the way that you communicate and the way it is that you might get in your own way at times. So this is a get honest period. It's a really seeing yourself for who you are. We all can improve. All of us can. We all can find ways to be a better person. That's not to say we're not great. Like, everyone has their skills. They have things that set them apart from the rest and make them amazing. But we all can take steps to become more of the person we know ourselves to be on the inside. So that's what this is about. Considering where it is that we're not living up to our own potential and our own standards, considering the way that we might communicate and not be communicating effectively, and then considering some of the more secretive areas of life that we ignore. So all of that is up for consideration, and you definitely should be considering it. All right, so besides the retrogrades and the eclipses, we also have some other very important things happening. For you, I haven't really talked about this for a lot of the other signs, but for you, it's going to be really important. We are several times throughout the year going to be having Jupiter speaking to Pluto in a very positive conversation. Now, Jupiter is going to be in a part of your sky that is, again, about your beliefs, about your education, your philosophies, all of that. Pluto is in your sign. So this is very positive. This is like transformative energy, self-growth, reaching the height of your potential, becoming who you want to be. It's like metamorphosis, essentially. It's going on a journey that brings you to a place of pure acceptance of who you are and pure understanding of where it is that you are meant to be. So expect major transformations that will serve you in great ways, essentially, but you will have to work for it, you know. Pluto is not necessarily, Pluto can be kind of elusive. It's not energy that we see on a daily level. So you're going to want to be aware of these opportunities. You're going to be looking for these opportunities to grow and transform, and you're going to want to act on them. Jupiter, on the other hand, is very much like just throws blessings at you, so they will be somewhat visible. But if you start to see areas where you think you can benefit and grow and become a better person, act on them. All right, so that's going to be the general theme of 2016 for you, Capricorn. I'm going to get more in depth and go over these same topics as we go through the months and we do the monthly video horoscopes, so stay tuned for those. I also do written daily and weekly horoscopes that you can find on my website, taylorcole.com, or go to my Facebook, Google+, or Twitter to get the links to those every day as well. And I love interacting with you, so please do continue comment, liking, sharing, and I always do try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right, so enjoy 2016, and I will be connecting with you again soon. Bye.